I guess I'd like to be remembered as someone who helped change the face of bass guitar, and being probably the only bass guitarist that hasn't been copyable.
That was how John Entwistle, bass guitarist of rock band The Who, described his ideal legacy. Most fans would say he achieved it. He did change the face of bass guitar. That was through his unique style of playing and willingness to experiment with and modify the instrument. His style also helped him obtain that uncopyable designation he always dreamed of. The Who didn't sound the same without him, and neither could music in general. Keep watching to see the truth revealed about John's life and career. John's early life. John Entwistle was born in the UK on October 9, 1944. He was an only child to two musicians. His father, Herbert, who died in 2003, played the trumpet. His mother, Maud, who died in 2011, played the piano. His parents' marriage fell apart soon after he was born. He was mostly raised by his grandparents. The shame of the divorce made him a reserved child. John wasn't interested in music right away, and it took time for him to find the right instrument. He took piano lessons at age 7, but didn't enjoy them. He switched to the trumpet at age 11 when he was at Action County Grammar School. He then tried the French horn at the Middlesex School's Symphony Orchestra. John first met Pete Townsend in his second year of school there. They formed a jazz band called the Confederates. They only played one gig together before they fell in love with rock and roll. John didn't think his trumpet fit well with the rock sound and switched instruments to guitar. He enjoyed low tones, such as those of Duane Eddy, and decided the bass would be best. He made his own instrument at home. John's talent caught the ear of Roger Daltrey. He was a year above him in school, but had been expelled and was working with an electrician. John got asked to be a bassist in his band, The Detours, and that was the beginning of everything. Finding a career. John had a unique sound that influenced many people, but he also nourished his friend Pete's guitar playing. He insisted Pete be allowed in when The Who was being formed. The band was made up of John, Pete, and their drummer Doug Sandom. Roger let Pete be the main guitarist and became the frontman and lead vocalist instead. Pete described the changing roles in the band in an interview.
You know, he knew I could play really good guitar, and we were in a band where Roger was the lead guitarist. And Roger was not a bad player at all. He wasn't a great player, but he was a good guitar player, good lead guitar player, and was charismatic as a guitar player. So, and we were in his band, so John had to defer and pick up something else.
John was working as a tax clerk to make ends meet before the band hit it big. He also joined another London band called The Initials for a short time until they fell through. John's distinctive style earned him two unique nicknames. He was called the Ox because of his strong constitution and tendency to stay still on stage. He was also called Thunderfingers because of his fast playing. Bill Wyman, bassist for the Rolling Stones, once said he was the, quote, quietest man in private, but the loudest man on stage. The Who also gained a reputation for high volume. They have the world record for the loudest rock concert in history at 126 decibels. They earned that honor at a 1976 concert in London. It's said they had to use special Marshall amplification techniques just to be heard over each other. John, like Peter, developed hearing loss later in life. He played off of feeling and lip reading. The Who also influenced other artists. Jimi Hendrix was influenced by their sound and their destructive art. John was the only member of the band with formal music training. He brought his knowledge of multiple instruments to the band, contributing French horn, trumpet, piano, bugle, Jew's harp, and backing vocals on occasion. He sometimes clashed with his fellow bandmates. He wrote songs on every studio album for The Who except Quadrophenia, but wasn't always allowed to sing them himself. He also became the first member to release a solo album, Smash Your Head Against the Wall, in 1971. His other solo albums included 1972's Whistle Rhymes, Rigor Mortis Sets In, Mad Dog, Too Late the Hero, and The Rock. He briefly toured with The Best, a supergroup including members of Steely Dan, The Beatles, and The Eagles. He created the John Entwistle Project near the end of his career with friend and drummer Steve Luongo and guitarist Mark Hitt. He even joined Ringo Starr's all-star band. He played at Woodstock 1999 He and Mickey Hart of the Grateful Dead were the only artists who were there as part of the original Woodstock. John was also visually talented. He designed several of the band's album covers and had several exhibitions of his art. He finished his final drawing, Eyes Wide Shut, in 2002. John was one of the first bassists that women flocked to, and he had plenty of women. He wrote a famous black comedy song titled My Wife about his many marital struggles. He married his childhood sweetheart, Allison Wise, in 1967. They had a son named Christopher, but got divorced. He then married Maxine Harlow. John was with his long-term partner, Lisa Pritchett Johnson, at the time of his death. They had been together for 12 years. John's death. John spent his final night at the Hard Rock Hotel Bar in Las Vegas with his fellow Who band members Pete Townshend and Roger Daltrey. They spent the night partying until 3 a.m. He went back to his room with an exotic dancer and Who groupie named Alison Rouse. She found him cold and unresponsive hours later. She attempted to resuscitate him and called for paramedics, but it was too late. John died at the age of 57 on June 27, 2002. The cause of death was the effects of cocaine he had taken 3 or 4 hours prior. The drugs weren't enough to cause an overdose, but they exacerbated a previously undiagnosed heart condition. He had been examined before going on tour, but a few closer inspections could have found it and perhaps saved his life. His body was sent to be buried in the village church where he'd been living with Lisa. His funeral was held at St. Edward's Church in Stowe on July 10, 2002. John's estate was split evenly between his mother, his son Christopher, and Lisa. Most of his money was tied up in items like clothes or his guitar collection. Many of these valuables had to be sold to pay debts. Fans, friends, and bandmates had kind words to say after realizing he was gone. Many were angered at his unnecessary passing. Lisa admits,
"Kill him for dying on me, but he would laugh at that."
Allison chooses to remember him for the man he was. She says, quote, "I loved him for years and years, so you can never get rid of those feelings. He was a silly boy, but also very generous, warm-hearted, and very, very talented." Christopher wants his father to be remembered as the best bass guitarist the world has ever known. He admired his talent and believed the stage was where he was meant to be. He can't even go to Who gigs anymore because it's too difficult not to see his dad there doing what he loved. John's honors. Christopher isn't the only one who thought highly of John's talents. His incredible bass playing earned him more nicknames he didn't even like. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame along with the rest of the Who in 1990. He's often considered one of the best bassists of all time and has the recognition to prove it. As his son said,
"Every year there was a poll. It was the top 10 bass players, and he always used to get very annoyed because he always used to come second, because Paul McCartney always came first. He got his own back, though, because the bass player of the millennium was voted for in 2000, and that was Dad.
John's biography. John's biography, simply titled The Ox, was recently released. It was written by British rock journalist Paul Rees. He had the full cooperation of the Entwistle family. That included access to a notebook John wrote full of notes for his own planned memoir before his death. John's son Christopher said he and his mother both approved of the book because they wanted to provide an accurate description of his father, including the sex, drugs, and rock and roll side, and the caring father side of him. Christopher said, quote, "My father wasn't an angel, but he was a lovely bloke generally. I didn't want it to be a fluff piece. I wanted it to be the story." The Ox is full of personal pieces from family members. Members of the band contributed except Roger Daltrey and Pete Townshend. Christopher admits his former bandmates were friends in the beginning but drifted apart. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite memory of John Entwistle? Let us know in the comment section below.